All right. We're live.
Good. We're live.
Welcome to the Design Build Show. This is our fourth episode. I have the one and only Peter Feinmann joining us. Peter has been a mentor from afar, if you will, for me as I've come up in the design build industry in residential remodeling. So it's an honor to have you. Thank you for being a guest.
Thank you, David. Appreciate it.
On the show. And how did you start in design build? If you could start with that.
Oh boy, I think my favorite story, Dave, was about 1989. I was doing a job for an architect, and we were on the staging of a third floor addition we were building. And he pointed out that I was...
Were you doing
I was doing the carpentry with a group of people. And he pointed out that after we had killed ourselves to put this crown molding on, I missed a line that was on the drawing. And I'd be in jail today if I threw him off the staging. I didn't, but I knew there had to be a better way to build than have an architect told me that I was missing a line.
Yeah.
And that was 1989. And then around the same time, I joined a great organization called Business Networks.
Yeah.
And I got to sit with my peers twice a year. And pretty quickly, the whole idea of kind of controlling the entire process came up. We were frustrated by architect design projects and the fact that the contractor was not really seen as an equal in that relationship was going on. And in 1993, some people called me up to design a kitchen. And when they asked me if I do design, I said, yes, I'll design your kitchen. And there are two stories. I designed their kitchen, and they've been friends for 25 years.
Awesome. So previous to that, what did you do when somebody called and said, hey, I want to do a kitchen, I don't have a design?
Well, up until 93, I just kind of said, well, we don't do the design work, you'll have to find someone else. Okay. Most of my work was still coming through our clients and architects at that time. It was, yeah. But in 93, I just had a sense that there had to be, that vision that I had in 1989, that there had to be a better way of doing it, really came to fruition when this couple said, can you design your kitchen? And I said, yes.
Yeah.
I had no idea how I was going to design the kitchen. Okay. But the kitchen came out. We did the kitchen in 93, and we redid it about 2 years ago.
Oh, wow.
About 25 years later, 24 years later. They wanted to do some changes to it. The cabinets were looking kind of old, so I've done that kitchen twice.
That's cool. So how did you design that kitchen?
Well, I really, I actually just took out a piece of drawing.
You did it?
I did it.
All right, good.
I did it.
Yeah.
And then shortly thereafter, I met an individual at a NARI meeting, and he was kind of an architecture designer, and he asked me what I did. And I said, well, I'm doing design build. And he said to me, what's design build? I said, let's try a couple projects out. Well, we worked together for about 4 years, and then we parted ways at some point. And he has since done a lot of mentoring and training of people in the design build industry.
Oh, okay.
So he's been someone who also ran with the idea that this collaborative approach of design and build was really a very successful way of kind of mentoring and teaching our clients, take them through the process.
Yeah. So when he left, you brought design?
Well, what happened is that I decided to bring and he was insulted that I did that.
I see.
And he said, Peter, I don't think we should work together anymore. I said, that's okay. And I brought my first architect, and about 2 years later, I brought my second architect, and he's been with me since then. And his name is Barney Mayer, and Barney has been really a great visionary for how to bring design into our company and how to really kind of make it an integral part of what we do.
Yeah, it is.
Our brand.
If anybody knows about Feinmann, if you're in this area, you know about Feinmann. They are, kind of the preeminent design builder of the area.
Well, we've won over 100 awards since 1994. So I think we win them because our design work, is special, and then our implementation really highlights what we do well.
Yeah. And then, go back. So before 1989, when you were on the scaffolding with that architect, you were a contractor. Like you would say, if somebody had asked what you are, you said, I'm a contractor.
I'm a contractor, that's right.
And you went to the North Bennett School for Carpentry, right?
I went to the North Bennett Street School in 1982, 83.
Okay.
I really learned how to be a carpenter. And I'm a nice Jewish boy from an upper middle class family, and nice Jewish boys don't go to carpentry school.
That was like a renegade thing to do.
After I got a bachelor's degree in philosophy, I got a certification in carpentry. And when I told my mom, she basically said I was doing this to get back at her.
Yeah. What do they say now?
Well, life is funny. About a month before I started North Bennett Street, I went to visit my mom in the hospital. She had struggled with cancer for about 10 years, and I told her, but my mom was a month away from dying. So I kind of slipped under the radar screen. She died. I went to Boston to go to North Bennett Street School. My dad just shrugged his shoulders, and my life really took a different path, in part because my mother's passing, and no one was resisting me because the family was in crisis over the loss of a very dear loved one.
I see. So you were able to do what you really
I was able to do because I kind of used this opportunity unbeknownst to me. I didn't know my mother was dying. I knew she wasn't well, but I didn't think she was dying. I was able to kind of slip under the radar screen, and without anybody saying, that's crazy, you shouldn't do that. I was able to do it, and that was really my path.
I understand. What did your father ever, is your father still?
My father's also passed.
But did Feinmann develop into the preeminent design builder before he passed?
I don't think he actually ever got what I did, but he understood that I was successful. Some of my favorite stories is in 1984, my father gave me $15,000 from a bank account of my mother's, and I bought a 2-family house in Somerville. And he basically said, WTF, why would you buy this piece of crap in this crappy neighborhood? The Green Line is moving in the next 4 years from this house, and I call that house the gift that keeps on giving.
That's
so I think my father did acknowledge at some point that some of my business decisions turned out to work out for me.
That was a good one.
He came from a generation in which he expected me to follow a certain path. And he didn't really get that maybe my path was going to be the right path. Ultimately, as he aged, he got it, and I felt his love and support for me in his later years.
I mean, I can't. I would be proud.
He got it.
You do an amazing job, and one of the things I'm proud of is we're just talking about it. How I've got to give us New England Design and Construction a little bit of a shout out. We haven't won 100 awards yet.
They're a good company.
But we both won Prism Awards one night, and a few years back, and we were the only companies where it's like it lists, who's the architect, who's the designer, who's the general contractor, who's the construction manager, whatever. And we were the only 2 firms where it was all the same name, and that I'm proud of that, because like you mentioned, the control, right? Like when you have a client, for me, it's like you want to be able to tell them, we're going to take care of you. It's up to us, and there's nobody else who we're going to be able to, you're going to be stuck in the middle of, right?
Well, I would say on any job, when a client controls any piece, that's the part of the job that the client will tell you didn't work out as well. I had one recently tell me that she was frustrated that the wetlands surveyor didn't give her the information she wanted. She handled the landscaping. We handled all the wetlands permit stuff. I should have actually done the landscaping as well.
I've had very similar experiences.
You want to control it all. When we control it all, we are in control of all the information. And I think you know this. When you get access to all the information, you have the ability to create success. And we're really clear that if our client wants to control something, many times we won't let them. But if there are a few instances that we do, we want to really be clear about the ground rules, because that's always the issue, that they will say, somehow blame us for not handling well.
If there is something like that you are not made to be responsible for in the project?
That could be kitchen cabinets or product that they buy.
That's separate from what you guys are handling.
You've probably seen this. A client brings in an interior designer and wants you to work with the interior designer, and suddenly the interior designer has opinions and perspective on how you should do things. That never turns out to be a very successful relationship.
I agree.
And not because the interior designers are not competent, because the core philosophy of what we do is through our collaborative model. We control and understand and design and look at all the pieces. And then there's only one group of people we have to figure out the information from. It's so much cleaner and simpler to do it that way than to wait for some information to come from a third party. I don't understand why everybody doesn't do design build. Now, I should say that we know there are a lot of companies that I would call are build designers. They're really builders who say they do a little design work, but they really don't do design work. They do some design work. And I think in this marketplace you've got to know, do you want an architect build company or do you want a build designer?
Right. And this show is really for the consumer. It's really for the public. And a thing I love to tell people, I don't know if you tell people this, but I always say I'm a design builder. And I say if you look at the derivation of the word architect, it's Greek for master builder.
That's right.
And for the great majority of history, the architect built. And it wasn't, I don't even want to say the designer built, because they weren't a designer, right? They were the whole thing. And if you look at the full components of it, like conversely, you can say, oh, the architect nowadays is just a designer. They don't care about what it costs. They don't build it, so they don't really know how to build. But I've heard you say this before, where you're also pointing out, yeah, but the builder doesn't really know how to design. So you're not getting the full package there necessarily either, right?
And I've been to jobs in which the client's looking for a very simple answer, and they're looking at something that would be less money. And I think there are some good build designers that do what I call build design projects, but everybody calls themselves design builders.
Oh,
and I think there should be two groups out there: the build designers and the
you
design builders.
You got it down like build design. Oh no, that's a build designer.
That's a build designer.
What am I?
You're a design builder.
Oh, thank you.
You're a good company.
That means
but
a lot.
When I sit with people and I know they're going to look for a build designer, I just let them know what we do. I explain it. I let them know the difference, and then I let them choose whether they want design build or build design.
That's a great point. So if I'm a consumer and I'm looking to do a project, a substantial project, how do I differentiate? Can I tell just from the website? Do I need to, do I need to talk to hear what they're talking about?
I think
how do you know?
A build designer spends more time trying to make sure the design has to meet a budget, and I think sometimes design has to stretch a budget. A good design builder knows how to work with a client's budget, but also stretch that budget. Because
what does that mean, though? Get them to spend more money? Like,
well,
what does that mean?
Get them to spend more money because they get more.
Yeah.
I remember years ago, clients say, you're expensive, and I say, no, we're not. We design projects that are more beautiful, that last the test of time, and that really hold up to highest quality. If you think that's more expensive, then that's what you value. But I want our clients to appreciate the value of what we offer, not the price of what we offer.
So you're really not even trying to compete, right? On like, because
I'm trying to make sure that what we offer is a good match and alignment with a client's ability to invest and build something that is more beautiful.
Yeah, and you're just being upfront with the fact that great design might cost more,
well,
right?
Good design solves problems. I'll give you an example. I finished my bathroom recently, and when I opened the shower door in, it misses the shower head by that much.
Yeah. Did you design that?
We designed it.
Oh, awesome.
And it opens in, so that when I open the door in to leave the shower, you know where all the wet water goes from the shower door? Into the shower.
Yeah.
Instead of out on the shower floor.
Yeah.
That's well designed.
Yeah. Awesome.
That probably costs more money than the other way, than just having the door open out.
Yeah.
But would you rather have a door open in so all the water stays in the shower? I open it in, I turn the shower on, I go in the shower, when I leave I open the door in and I leave the shower. Well designed, well thought through. That costs more money.
Yeah, it makes a difference.
But will you pay more for more?
Yeah, yeah. So it's those
It's experiences, you're buying experiences.
Yeah.
I'll go to Disney World and I'll see a bunch of people spending all this money to have an experience at Disney World. They have valued that as being worth the money. Disney World is over $100 a day. People are spending that money. Why? They see it as value. They see it as having an experience that lasts them. Our experiences you live with every day when you turn on the faucet and you walk into the kitchen and you entertain your friends and family and the light comes streaming in to your once dark kitchen and the bathroom is a place of quiet and repose. And the family room is a place where the family and friends gather. That's what we do. We create experiences.
Yeah. And you're fully accountable for it, right? Like you could just be you kind of almost like you could just be an architect there, right? But then if you're not executing the project, it could be messed up, right? It could be not executed.
Well, I'll give you a good example. I have some dear friends who did a kitchen about 5 or 8 years ago, and they asked me to look at it. And for a number of reasons, I chose not to. And I go to the kitchen, and it's the cabinets are great, the counters are pretty, the tile is pretty, but the architect designed a bump out with a beam, and the beam was there. The kitchen designer has the cabinets bump up to the beam. We would have designed that beam to be integrated into the design, and you would know.
Like it's not flush, or what do you mean?
No, well, you see the beam in the kitchen.
Okay.
Instead of the beam being lost.
Like the cabinets go around them.
Around the beam.
I got you.
And so the quality is well done. The builder was good. The cabinet supplier was good.
Yeah.
But the design elements really are not well integrated.
Yeah.
We would have never done that. We would have charged more money, made that beam really be integrated. It might have had lighting into it. It might have dropped into the space somehow. But we would have made sure that it didn't look like a beam. That it looked like an architectural element. That's
awesome.
the difference. That was someone who hired an architect, a kitchen designer, and a builder to do the project.
Yeah.
And the project is nice, but not as nice as the kind of projects that we do.
Yeah. Would have you given them the option? Would have you even said, hey, like you could have this
I would have
framed, or would
I would have shown them the beam and say, we've got a beam here. Let me tell you 2 or 3 ways we think we should handle the beam. The beam was a necessity from a structural standpoint.
Right.
You understand that.
Yeah.
But it wasn't necessary that it had to look like a beam.
Yeah. And so you would have just taken responsibility for that.
I would have made that, and it might have cost more money.
Yeah.
But you would never just see the beam in that kitchen.
Yeah. Cool.
I've got so many stories like that,
Yeah. So you started as a carpenter. You designed your first design build project. You brought in an architect, and then have since then have design and architecture in-house. What does it mean to you to be I'm comparing that to somebody who's going to always be the designer, always be the contractor on every job. Like you're a business owner. So you have people, specialists in your company that do individual tasks, right? What is the mindset, though, of the company as a whole that enables you to have different specialists in the company who do just maybe do design, who do just do carpentry, but as a company, you're one entity and you're in control, you're responsible for the whole project. What's the mindset there?
Well, I think the mindset is what I call culture. The culture is everybody who works in my company is trying to do the best job possible, to be as thorough as possible, to pay attention to all the details from every design element to the last little bit of paint that goes on the wall. And so the culture of the company is about excellence. And everybody comes to work here for us. It takes a little while, but at some point they get it. Those who don't get it don't stay, and those who get it stay. And anybody who works for us for some period of time is never the same in terms of the culture of what we've created. They may move on to other jobs or other locations, because people do move on. They don't stay forever, many people. But they really do understand that the culture of excellence is what really drives what we do.
Cool.
And now our clients see that. They see that we have a culture of excellence. So in this busy economy, we have a lot of people who understand that what we sell is worth what we charge to get that excellence from both the design to the execution. I always say it's not only the execution of the design, the execution of the carpentry, it's also the execution of the bookkeeper and the administration and the way we organize ourselves. We are fussy about detail, and we are fussy about every detail from the beginning to the end.
That's great. So why not then, but you could be an architectural firm, right? Or a contracting firm and say, well, we're excellence. That's our standard. That's our, why is it different? Like, what is the design build aspect of that?
Well, I think the difference is our culture of collaboration. That when our architects are designing something, you can hear the conversations going on in the next office about how would you handle this structurally? Do you think we can build this? Do you think this might get too expensive? Do you think that I'm really wild and crazy, getting too far out there with some of these ideas? I can hear the conversations between my architectural staff and my project management staff about what we are building is buildable and or is it buyable? Meaning, will the client pay money for that idea? So I hear that conversation going on all the time. And
so it's the collaboration.
It's a collaboration. It's a culture of collaboration. It's a culture of excellence. It's a culture that says our clients need to be able to want to buy this. Can we sell this to them? And have we strategized I mean, you and I were talking about a project that we both looked at, and with that couple, I told them that I didn't think they need to do a full renovation of the basement, and I looked at a couple of ways that they could do that basement differently.
Yeah.
And neither one of us got the job, but I kind of understood that this client was going to hit a budget if they did that basement the way they discussed doing the basement.
It didn't really make sense to me either, and I always like to kind of put myself in the client's shoes, like, hey, here's what I would do. Here's, and I think that does come from we're gonna be responsible for it. Right. It's like, and I love that. I just love that about what we do.
I think it gives the client tremendous confidence and a sense of security to know that one company in an industry that has a reputation of people not being reliable and dependable, not returning phone calls, and not being accountable. Yeah. You have probably experienced as much as I have the people who say, not my fault, not my problem. I I did a tile work at a second home I owned recently, and this guy never once called me about the problems that he bumped into. He actually just did it right. We bumped into another tile guy recently that every day was an excuse. Yeah, yeah. And we removed him from the job and brought another guy on it, because we really wanted to make sure the job was done right. Yeah,
it is a mindset, I feel like, because you're talking about subcontractors right now, right? And we have a lot of them, probably like 15 to 20 on one job.
That's right.
One of them goes bad, and you don't get like an A- still. You get like a potentially
B-, C+.
Yeah, yeah.
And
or
so
maybe worse, right?
But again, it's getting.
But that's a mindset, right?
The mindset is. I remember years ago, it was like 1989. I was on a job, and the light was in the wrong location. I said to the electrician, "The light's in the wrong location," and he says to me, "Oh, the plaster removed it." I looked up in the eye and I said, "Don't you ever make an excuse like that ever again, or you'll never work for me ever again. Yeah. Please move that back to the other location."
Plaster's not smart enough to move the light, right?
No, the plaster's not going to move the light. So I kind of said to him, "I expect accountability. Please move the light." And I probably brought the plaster back to fix the light. But I wasn't going to let the electrician. I wanted the electrician said, "God, I put that in the wrong location. Let me go move that. Any chance you can plaster it for me?" And I would have said, "Sure. I'll take care of that for you." We're a team.
That's that culture, right? That's that culture. And you want, it's not only your employees, but it's your partners, your trade partners.
I call them trade partners, admit you make a mistake, and we'll all figure out who's paying for the solution. Yeah. And quite often, as you know, we share in that solution. Yeah. And it might be, look, you take care of that, I'll take care of the painter. Yeah. Come back and I'll have my painter fix that for you.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's all the end. When you talk about an end product, you've been in homes where it was maybe an architect and they bid it out, and then it was a builder, and it might be, the beam wasn't, you couldn't tell that there was a beam there, and it was awesome. It was an amazing project.
I see more of the other. I either see projects where I can see that it was designed for a certain budget, or built for a certain budget. I was at a tile job recently by a guy and I was embarrassed to see the way the tile work was done. Yeah. Details not worked out, joints not worked out.
So that's one side of it, right? Where they really, they didn't, what they paid for was what they got.
That's right.
Pretty much, right? But talk about it where it is, like it's an amazing project, and they hired an architect, and then they hired a builder, and it worked out, right? The end product is there, it's beautiful, like,
do you see a lot of those? Because I don't.
Yeah, I'm feeding you here. I'm feeding you. I'm looking for a certain answer. But so what was different for that experience? Like there's guys we know in NARI who are builders, right?
If I go to 10 jobs, I've seen 1 out of 10 in which it was well designed and well built. Yeah. If it was done as a separate group. Yeah. The jobs that I see that are well designed is which there was a really good collaborative model.
Yeah. Okay, so there was still that philosophy, even if it was separate, right?
That's right.
It's possible.
No, I think you can
have a great architect and you can have a great build who are still thinking beyond themselves.
They're collaborative.
They're collaborating,
I think you said it. Because the culture is not a culture of I, it's a culture of us. Yeah. And it's a culture of us to serve you, the client. And when it's a culture of us to serve you, the client, if the tile work isn't done right, let me fix it for you. If the electrician moved a fixture in the wrong location, let me take care of that. And I'll take care of the plastering, the painting. But ultimately, there's only one thing we're doing here. Is serving our clients. There's only one person that counts. It's them. And we have to have a culture that says, how are we serving them and making sure the work that they do, that we do for them, is going to be really well respected and well appreciated for many years to come.
Yeah, I'm with you. You looking at the game?
No, they're looking at the hockey game over there.
Okay. Celtics game is on.
Celtics lost.
Oh, man. I agree with you. I totally, I think that you can have it separate as long as the collaboration is there and the mindset is there. I'll tell you what
it's a mindset, the mindset of us.
I'll tell you what the difference is, though. When that client who started with the architect, did the bid, did the build, or even had the builder working with them from the onset, whatever the architect said it would cost, like at some point the client had to swallow a pill that was like, this is going to cost a lot more.
Well, I remember years ago some builder said to me that most of his projects go 30% over the original budget. I would say my average is about 7%.
Yeah. And it gets
because
sorted out
earlier.
Much earlier.
Much earlier.
Yeah.
Clients know if a project's going higher, earlier.
Totally.
And I would say that our spread gets tighter and tighter.
Architects don't know what things
in our company,
cost.
we design. We start with our process. I don't know exactly your process. Is that we really work on a target budget, something that we feel is achievable.
Yeah.
And then we go through the design phase to find out whether or not that target budget is achievable, and if not, what has changed.
Yeah.
We always show our clients what costs are associated with the changes.
I agree.
And then as they make selections and design gets more refined, if price goes up, we keep showing our clients what has changed and what the cost has been.
Yeah.
But I would say that as we go to a process, the only change orders we have with on a job will be the mold that we may find or the rotten beam that we find.
Yeah. Unforeseen conditions,
Unforeseen
right?
conditions. Clients seem to always spend extra money on electrical.
Yeah.
But other than that, once a client, here's what I've noticed, that once I go through about a third of the job, clients have more money to spend. You know why? Because they put a pot of money away and they realize they don't have to spend it.
Yeah.
So they spend it on other
things they want.
On other things.
Yeah.
Not because they needed to protect themselves against a 30% upcharge on their project.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the rate of change orders for us is a selling point. It's a part I'm proud of that differentiates us. And it helps the client and
creates security and reliability and dependability and a sense of it being at ease.
Yeah, and since we know what things cost, since we build, costs are part of the decision-making process. So it's not like they're finding out at the end of the design, this is what this was really going to cost. They have these amazing designs that they love that they're not going to be able to execute, but you go step by step as you're making decisions. You're getting, that's part of the decision-making process, what the cost is.
That's right.
So you can do that with some certainty that you're not then going to have to come back and redesign and what have you.
Yeah, you probably know this. If I set a target budget, let's call it $200,000, and the project comes out at $250,000, there's a lot of defending. But if I'm at $205,000 or $210,000 or $215,000, and the client sees value in what was $215,000, it's a very much easier relationship. When that target budget and the schematic budget are aligned, it's a very easy sale.
Yeah.
The challenge for us is getting the target budget to be something that a client will accept to buy.
I agree. Right. Especially when they're comparing it to build designers, right?
Build designers are their friends who said they could do it for less.
Right.
And those are the toughest to sell because I had a job recently. We did 2 bathrooms, a master bathroom and a family bathroom, and the electrician said to my project manager, "This is not 2 bathrooms." It was immensely more complicated than just 2 bathrooms.
Right. Yeah.
And our challenge is how we explain to our clients that if they want not just 2 bathrooms, right? Yeah. 2 beautiful bathrooms with a hallway and some work in the master bedroom and master closets and the hallway upgraded and the whole environment changed. That's not just 2 bathrooms. And they think they're buying 2 bathrooms, but are they buying 2 bathrooms or are they buying really 2 bathroom environments
that'll
really
improve their life, right? On a daily basis.
Change daily basis, yeah. How you live in your house.
Awesome. So where do you see design build going in the future?
Well, what I've seen in the last 10 years is a lot more companies really doing design build, and doing it well. More architects on the staff, more kitchen designers on the staff, and really raising the bar of everybody doing it really well. Compared to 10 years ago when there were a few design builders and a lot of build designers. I think the idea that good design sells good projects is something we've seen more and more. So I think we'll see more of it in the industry.
I agree.
And I think it's going to keep going. I think we're going to see companies that have interior designers on the staff, fabrics and furnishings. We already see companies doing product selection. We see companies doing cabinet selection. I think it's just going to continue to encompass the field.
Yeah, I agree. And I think in our field, in residential remodeling, when you're dealing with people's homes, they want that accountability. They want less risk, right? And they want it earlier.
They want one person to call and say, I want to do my living room as well. Can you come in there and do my fabrics and furnishings and my light and my built-ins and my flooring and put a gas fireplace in?
And I agree. And it just makes so much sense. When people find out about design build, I don't think they'd ever go back
I'm a little older than you, so I watch what's design build to, I don't know if I like design build to, I now hear people say on the phone, we are looking at a design build. We want the efficiency of design build. We want the collaborative model of design build. We want the fact that your company seems to be able to design projects well, and clearly from your photographs, your work looks beautiful. I watched it go from what's design build to, I don't know if I want to design build to, we're looking for a design build company.
Yeah.
And that's why we always bump into your name, because when I ask them who they talk to, it's always NEDC.
Yeah, well, what percentage of people do you think have heard of design build? Like lay people, people in the population.
I would say in the 1990s, 10%. In the 2000 decade, 50%. I think it's 80% now. 80,
really?
90%.
I think it's less. I think of the average person. Maybe somebody who's looking to remodel, like the person who's calling you up and is like 80% maybe.
Now,
but
get design build. The ones who don't might not know, but I bet you're right. The ones who don't know anything will say, I'll call an architect, and if they do their research, they'll realize there's a model other than just an architect.
I think we're still at the 10% of like the general population.
But the people who are buying remodel, they've gotten a lot more knowledge.
Yeah, because they've Googled it. And with residential remodeling, with what we do, it's very popular, and I think it is going to continue to grow, and it just makes too much more.
Keep expanding the services that we offer.
Yeah, it just makes too much sense not to. So, that's it.
I've seen the model work, in 25 years. There were 3 of us in the Boston area. One's out of business, and the other one, you telling me, is really winding down.
Well, it's New England Design and Build, right?
That's
so
right.
when we're New England Design and Construction, we were going to be New England Design and Build, but there was this company who I didn't know, who's been around for a long time, but
good company, we did it 25 years ago. No one did it.
Yeah.
And I would do talks in the late 90s called How to Choose Your Client, and people thought I was absolutely crazy. You're not choosing your clients, they're choosing us. I go, well, we've got a model called Design Build that allows us not to choose our clients, but look for the right match of people who want what our services are to what we offer.
Yeah.
And I think most of the time when I'm on the phone with prospective clients and meeting, I'm looking to see if the alignment of the match works well. And if not, it's basically, thank you, Peter, but you're not a good match for us. And we wish you the best.
Got it. Well, thank you for being a leader in the industry. Thank you for setting a great example for me. I really, truly do appreciate it. And thank you for being on the show.
Oh, it was my pleasure. Thank you. Good night.
Good night.